Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person. Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
Well, you haven't. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation, welcome to the show. It's Thursday. We got a good one today. Of course, we got heavy news as always. We got another shooting, another mass shooting. We're going to talk about in Tulsa, of course. We also have some, I don't really know if you can call it highlights. This feels more like a situation of low lights, very, very low. I'm talking to the floor from the recent emergency hearing on a gun control package, which is guaranteed not to pass. So we have that to look forward to. Yay. We have MAGA Chud. We're going to lighten it up a little bit. On that, we get a MAGA Chud that refuses to answer a very simple question. Interesting. Thanks to the good liars, of course. Let's see. We are also going to talk about a Star Wars actress. Y'all know how much of a nerd I am, how much of a dork, how much I love sci-fi. And so Star Wars, it appears that a small collection of the fandom not happy about a black actress. Gee, where have we seen this before? Huh, interesting. But no, we're going to talk about that. But wait, there's actually a good part to the story into how much support she's getting. So we're going to get all of those details. All right. So that said, before we dive in, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Helps us out. Also, programming note for tomorrow. I am proud to welcome, I think for the first time on this show, Ring of Fire host Farron Cousins on to talk tomorrow. He's going to be co-hosting with me. It's going to be a fun show. You are going to love it. So it should be absolutely a great time. I've had a few excellent conversations with Farron. He's a good friend, and so I'm really looking forward to having him on the show tomorrow. And you know what? We're going to find some fun stuff to talk about. It should be great. So that's tomorrow. All right. We have today, so let's dive in. All right. We had yet another mass shooting in this country. Again, this is not a surprise. We have a mass shooting nearly every day. Nonetheless, the Tulsa, a medical center in Tulsa, is the most recent setting for a mass shooting. According to reports, a man carrying a semi-automatic AR-15 rifle as well as a pistol went into this hospital, opened fire, killed 4 people before taking his own life. So now within minutes, and this is interesting because the police actually stressed this after the Uvalde shooting. They're like, oh no, we immediately ran inside. Like, we're not like those cowards in Uvalde that stood outside for nearly an hour. We ran right into that building immediately, instantly, which again is what they're supposed to do. In an active shooter situation, the protocol is to get in there as quick as possible. So now, and again, I love how they had to stress this. Like, no, we went in. We were not cowardly. Okay, we went right in. Now, that said, the details of this are different, of course, than what happened in Buffalo, which, by the way, Buffalo, the shooter in Buffalo has been charged with, I think, 25 different counts, hate crime charges, etc., because that was a racially motivated shooting. As far as what happened in Uvalde, again, we don't necessarily know exactly why he decided to choose this elementary, but apparently in this case, we do have an idea what happened. So now, the suspect, let me get into the details, has already been identified as 45-year-old Michael Lewis. Public records list Lewis as a resident of a home in Muskogee that Tulsa police had asked local police to search for a possible bomb. So not only was there a shooting, but there was a possible bomb threat at his own house, or not threat at his own house, but there was the possibility that there was a bomb. They didn't find anything. That home was evacuated on Wednesday night. During a press conference on Thursday, we got more details. Tulsa Police Chief Wendell Franklin told reporters that the gunman, who is a black man, had been a surgery patient of one of the victims, Dr. Preston Phillips, who also was a black man. So understand, in this situation, this is more, it's not really a random act of violence, but also not terrorism related, not racially motivated, so just different. Okay. Nonetheless, you're going to see, of course, it all has the same underlying thread of easy access to weaponry. So now, other victims included Dr. Stephanie Hewson, a receptionist, Amanda Green, and another patient, William Love. Apparently, those 3 had just gotten in the shooter's way in order to go after Dr. Phillips. So now, Lewis ended up having back surgery back on May 19th that was performed by Phillips. He subsequently called several times over the next several days, complaining about pain and wanting additional treatment. Lewis saw Phillips on Tuesday for some additional treatment, called Phillips' office again on Wednesday before the shooting, complaining of back pain and wanting additional assistance. After the shooting, the police found on Lewis a letter which made it clear that he came in with the intent of killing Dr. Phillips and anybody who got in his way. Unfortunately, of course, those other 3 had gotten in the way of this man's murderous intent. Lewis ended up buying an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle from a gun store at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. So the day before the shooting, police were called about the shooting shortly before 5 p.m. I'm sorry, not a day before the shooting. A different weapon, a handgun, was also purchased earlier on May 29th, the source told CNN. In addition, fewer than 10 people suffered non-life-threatening injuries, according to Tulsa Police Captain Richard Muhlenberg. Authorities are trying to determine if they were wounded by the gunfire or during the chaos of escaping the scene. No officers were injured. And so now, the shooting, of course, not believed to be indiscriminate. From what we can tell right now, very, very motivated. Very motivated, very purposeful. In fact, here's what Muhlenberg had said. He very purposely went to this location, went to a very specific floor, and shot with a very specific purpose. Not a random shooting. When initially reached by the Daily Beast Wednesday night, Lewis's family had expressed some disbelief that he may have been involved. Quote, This is his niece. This is really crazy. Like, this is shocking. No one in our family, like nobody in our family, has this type of behavior. No one. So look, obviously terrible situation, right? And again, what underlies all this entire situation is the guns. It is the thread that connects this to Uvalde, to Buffalo, to all the other mass shootings that we have. It doesn't matter necessarily what the motive is. I mean, it does, yes. But when you have guns that are so easily accessible to anybody at any time, basically what you have in this country is guns on demand. You have a normally sane person that can become the next mass shooter. I've said this before. You're a good guy with a gun until you're not. Until you might have something go wrong with your life. Or until you're in debilitating pain, either mental or physical. Now, that said, I'm not saying that everybody in pain obviously becomes a mass murderer. That's ridiculous. But what I am saying is that there are certain people going through certain things that at certain times should not have access to high-powered weaponry. Because it makes that person, who has murderous intent, by the way, maybe they feel wronged, to more easily be able to act upon those impulses, where rationality, where clear thought goes right out the window. This could be a case, and it certainly seems like it, where it was easier to get a gun than it was to get proper health care. That's really something that I don't think gets talked about enough. And look, you know, when you have conservative politicians that throw out things like, mental illness. So now they've used that card to distract from guns. But of course, mental illness, yes, that is a valid point, right? Because we can point out, sure, we don't have valid mental health care in this country. We have millions of people that can't afford health care in general, thanks to our for-profit system. So are we going to actually do anything about health care? No, because there's never a response from Republicans when asked that question. And so, of course, they throw it out as a distraction from the gun. Now, we also have an issue with chronic pain patients that are being denied medication over fears of addiction to that medication or becoming addicted. Now, that, of course, does happen as well, but also that doesn't mean that every person that takes that medication to manage chronic pain is an addict, okay? It does not mean that. It doesn't mean that. And so understand that there are a lot of different contributing factors to, I believe, this particular shooting. However, the underlying issue, again, is easy access to these high-powered weapons. So, now, Deborah Proctor, a nurse who was in the building next door, talked to the Daily Beast. Here's what she told them. Quote, "It's very sad on mass shootings. We just keep having them every day, every year, until we decide that we've had enough. In my mind, it's like a massive car collision. Then I thought maybe it's a fire, but then you realize the active shooter is right next door. I've seen my share of gunshot wounds, so I understand the dark side of humanity, but I feel bad for those whose families who have lost someone again. Because we continue to turn away from any simple action that we could take, people will have lifelong suffering and sorrow. Who is going to take responsibility for the blood on their hands? The only solution is to vote out the people who don't give a damn. And they keep turning away from the most simplest responses to gun safety. So that means we condone that gun violence because we keep coming up with bullshit excuses like mental illness. But every country has mental illness. Only we have the mass shootings." So, I mean, there's a lot there, obviously. But she's right. We do turn away from that. We don't talk about that. Yes, there are lots of bullshit excuses that are thrown out. In fact, the next segment, we're going to talk about that. Mental health, the breakdown of the family, and all these things that you can't really legislate or do anything about as a congressperson, but you can absolutely pass simple measures like increase background checks. But they refuse to do so. Now, another person, endocrinologist David W. Harris, who works at the nearby Springer Clinic, echoed the fact that Congress is doing basically nothing, saying, quote, "No other country has this problem. No other country." That's because every other country apparently has a little bit more of a functional government than we do. And says, there is no safe place in this country anymore. So, look, here we are. Another day, another mass shooting. There's been at least 20 in Uvalde. I'm sorry, 20 since Uvalde. I think 22, 23. This makes the 233rd this year so far. But we know nothing is going to happen in Congress. I mean, the Democrats are too incredibly weak, and Republicans love blood money from the gun lobby. So nothing will happen. There is no safe place. Understand that when you live in an ocean of guns, it will eventually come to your town. Unless we stand up as we the people and actually take action to demand common sense gun reforms. So, moving on. All right. Here we are. Earlier today, the House Judiciary Committee held an emergency meeting on a package of bills dubbed the Protect Our Kids Act. So, look, in addition to increasing the purchasing age for semi-automatic rifles from 18 to 21, the package would also ban the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of large-capacity magazines, as well as establishing requirements to regulate the storage of firearms on residential premises and create criminal penalties for violations. They also plan to crack down on so-called ghost guns, which I think is very interesting because I'm not entirely sure how you defeat 3D printing. But hey, if they're going to try, great. Banning straw purchases, as well as going after gun traffickers. One notable thing here that is missing is an assault weapons ban. However, of course, I really shouldn't even share the details because at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. Nothing is going to pass. So, look, I know there are people right now whose heads are exploding, screaming, "Shall not be infringed." You've already won. I mean, gun laws are looser in this country than they ever have been before. And we see the result. More death. So you've gotten exactly what you've asked for. That said, they've also, Republicans have also in Congress gotten absolutely everything that they asked for. And so, in fact, here, I want to show you a compilation of Republicans on this committee arguing that, no, we can't actually do anything about guns.
Now we had a president come on after Uvalde and he used God's name in vain.
Here's a 12-round magazine. This magazine would be banned under this current bill. It doesn't fit.
This bill ignores the real mental health crisis in the country.
Since the 60s, we really started having these mass shootings. Perhaps there was something in the 60s.
Here's a 12-round magazine that would be banned. It doesn't fit because it would be banned.
It ignores how the defund the police movement influenced school districts across the U.S. to rid themselves of school resource officers.
People being taught in school, it's whatever you think feels good.
Here's a 7-round magazine, which would be less than what would be lawful under this bill if this bill were to become law. It doesn't fit.
It ignores the school systems trying to replace the family by withholding information from parents about their own children.
An AR-15 is a gun of choice for killing raccoons before they get to our chickens.
This social experiment going on in our military, our schools, and our society is contributing to this mental health crisis. the deterioration of family values, and our skyrocketing violent crime rates.
So this gun would be banned.
I hope the gun is not loaded.
I'm at my house. I can do whatever I want with my guns.
So that was Congress today. All clowns. All clowns. I mean, they're absolutely just useless. Useless. Oh, yeah, no, we got to protect the chickens. You see, at the cost of children. See, we prefer our chickens over the children's, you see. But we are very pro-life, though. And by the way, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with guns. I mean, we should just go back to the 60s and talk about how, you know, something changed then. And we also have critical race theory in schools. Oh, look, that's their arguments. Those, by the way, again, these are members of the House of Representatives. But you have the Republican Party in the Senate that is going to filibuster this. So yeah, it'll probably get through the House, but then it won't get through the Senate. So again, it's their arguments are mental health, breakdown of the families, critical race theory, wokeness. I mean, I've covered all of these different excuses. All of them. And they are just excuses. Oh, I need an AR-15 specifically to shoot varmints that are coming after my chickens. As if another long gun wouldn't actually do the job as well. Another rifle that uses the same kind of rounds but doesn't have the same kind of modability. But no, we have to. And look, the reason that they're protecting the AR-15, by the way, is because that's a huge moneymaker for the gun lobby. It's made billions of dollars in profits for the manufacturers. They know how popular it is. It's one of the most popular guns in the country. So if it makes a lot of money, can't ban it. No, of course not. Of course not. Corporate profits over people, right? And again, it's made billions of dollars in profits. And look, the fact is that you have the gun lobby, you have the gun manufacturers, and then you have groups like the NRA, but there are other, of course, gun groups as well that have poured millions of dollars into lobbying Congress, into buying these same politicians that spewed the nonsense that you saw in that video. To loosen those gun laws, to make these guns more easily accessible, which of course has led to mass shootings. More mass shootings. More guns and looser gun laws equal more mass shootings. Simple as that. Combine easy access to weapons with weirdo gun culture, the lack of mental health care in this country, nonstop fear-mongering media like Fox News, extreme individualist tendencies for some people that don't see other people as a community, but just things to, exploit or possible, aggressors against you. I mean, you have all of that. Radicalization on the right, militia groups, incels, white supremacy, political polarization. You add that all together and you realize that in this country, we are living in a toxic stew. And the result of that is a mass shooting pretty much every single day. And we're not doing anything about it because these are the people that you just saw that are in charge of doing things. And look, other countries have issues with radicalization, of course, the right, mental illness, violent video games, violent movies. Guess what they don't have? The same issue with mass shootings that we do. And that common thread, of course, is the easy access to guns, which Republicans are paid to protect. And this is why nothing happens. Nothing will happen, despite the majority of the country actually supporting some of these simple measures. And some even wanted to go further. I mentioned an assault weapons ban earlier today. Earlier in the segment, I mean. According to a survey conducted on March of 2021, before all these mass shootings, 50% of all registered voters in the United States strongly supported banning assault-style weapons. Now, of course, the polls do change. Generally, after mass shootings, support for gun control tends to go up, and then we tend to forget about it, and then it comes back, and then, of course, there's another high-profile mass shooting. But what sucks is that when the poll numbers go down, it kind of shows that we have accepted this as the reality now that, oh, well, a bunch of kids getting murdered in school, Oh, that sucks when that happens, but I guess that's just the price of freedom. But let me give you more numbers in this poll numbers here. Now, the assault weapons ban, for one, let's see. Again, 50% of all registered voters strongly supported it. 40% somewhat supported, so that's 64%. 9 opposed, 18% strongly opposed, and 9% didn't know. So again, you had a majority of the country, majority of Americans polled saying, yeah, we should ban assault style weapons, the assault platform, right? And that's more of your military style weapons. Now you also have, and by the way, that's not even in the bill. Other measures also are popular. Roughly 80 to 90% of Americans support universal background checks, red flag laws, which would allow police and family members to petition the court to temporarily keep guns away from people who might be a threat to themselves or others. Those are popular. 77% of Americans think that a family member should be able to petition a court to temporarily keep someone away from guns, while 70% think police should be able to. It's according to the APN Research Lab. 85% of Republicans and 90% of Democrats do support stopping people with mental illness from being able to buy a gun. So, look, what's interesting about all of that, at least on the mental illness, right? Because I talked about how before you just kind of throw that out. I was like, it's mental illness. Are you going to do anything about mental illness? No, we're actually not going to do anything about mental illness, but we're going to talk about it, how there is mental illness. Oh, great. Look, we don't have guaranteed mental health care in this country. It would be nice if we did. So think about maybe how many people, instead of going and getting health care that they need, go out and buy guns instead. Because it's easier for them to get a gun on demand than it is to find a therapist or afford a medication in this country. Now, that said, of course, it is important to note that mental illness, having a mental illness, is not a guaranteed predictor of you becoming a mass murderer. And so understand that there is stigmatization of people with mental illness. And Republicans tend to use that very broad definition in order to paint a picture in bad faith. And so, again, blame this on mental illness, yet do nothing about increasing access to mental health care. Well, then it seems like all you're doing is throwing out excuses and not trying to really solve that problem that you think is part of the problem. And the only thing that I can think of is that they do that is because they know what the real problem is, and they're refusing to do anything about it. They know what the real problem is, and they don't want to solve that problem. So, yeah, here we are. We know what the problem is. We know what works. We can look at every other country that has actually done something about this, and we can see how few mass shootings actually do happen, how rare they are in other countries compared to us. And we also have the support of the vast majority of the American people, the voters that want to do something about it. The only problem here is in the United States, money rules everything. You have bribery, you have corporate elites, you have a small minority of corporations and insane voters in gerrymandered districts, as well as craven, corrupt politicians that will do nothing but support the status quo, even if it means that your kids will be the next one to die in the next mass shooting. Gun sales increase when there are mass shootings. That's also true, unfortunately. All right. Let's move on and switch the subject here. Jason Selvig of the Good Liars was once again out there interviewing Trump supporters when he ran into this gentleman who was supporting the Confederate flag and basically saying to let it fly, keep it flying, keep it flying.
Keep it flying? And why do you want to keep it flying?
Why would anybody want to erase our heritage?
Well, some people would say that flag symbolizes racism, it symbolizes slavery, and they might have some valid points there.
That's their opinion, they're welcome to their opinion if they want it.
Are you pro-slavery or against slavery?
I have no comment, but thank you for the interview.
I'll give you one more chance. Pro or anti-slavery?
No comment.
I'll give you one more opportunity to say if you're pro or anti-slavery.
No comment.
All right, well, there you have it. No comment on the if you're in favor of slavery or not.
No comment. There it is. No comment. No comment. I mean, how hard is it to say, well, no, I'm against slavery, obviously. Come on. Super easy answer. Super easy answer. Why no comment? Why no comment? Now, look, as for taking down this that specific flag, right? He said, well, hey, look, sure, some people say that it stands for slavery and racism. Well, that's your opinion, man. Well, I'm going to argue that it's not actually an opinion, that it stands for racism and slavery. That's a fact. Whether or not you believe that, again, as our friend Ben Shapiro would always say, well, facts don't care about your feelings, right? Well, of course, we know the facts about what that particular flag has come to represent. And it ain't about a heritage. No. Again, literally, the Confederacy was a reaction to the North banning slavery. The Confederacy was not a part of the United States. They wanted to create a completely different country with a different constitution. And it was founded on the idea that the Negro, the black man, is inferior and should be enslaved for the benefit of white people. I mean, you look at who they elected as president, Jefferson Davis, who argued that it's their natural condition. Here are some quotes from Davis. Quote, my own conviction as to Negro slavery are strong. It has its evils and abuses. We recognize the Negro as God, and God's book and God's law in nature tell us to recognize him, our inferior, fitted expressly for servitude. You cannot transform the Negro into anything 1/10 as useful or as good as what slavery enables them to be. There's another quote. If slavery be a sin, it is not yours. It does not rest on your action for its origin, on your consent for its existence. It is a common law right to property in the service of man. Its origin was divine decree. Hey, it's okay, guys. It's okay. See, God made slavery and made black people inferior for us to use, so it's okay. And of course, this is the same guy who had over 100 slaves and used them he did. Again, president of the Confederacy. Gee, I wonder why people who are racist keep, flying that Confederate flag. Again, if you're one of those people who was ignorant to that history, okay, I get it. And once you learn that, you probably ought to not be flying that flag anymore. Like, oh shit, wow, that is, wow, that's not good at all. I really don't support that point of view. But if you are, if you know this history and you're still flying that flag, and you're saying, yeah, I know all about it. Sure, I don't care because I still support it. Well, that's a problem. That makes you a racist. And again, these are the same people that also espouse racist ideas, like Great Replacement, how black people are thugs and criminals, 1350. Now, when you, of course, explain these things, point out how, hey, maybe those arguments are kind of racist, y'all. they get super defensive, and it always defaults back to, it's my heritage. Because of course, right? As if that actually means anything. Saying that this flag is part of your heritage doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It really doesn't. I mean, look, June, hey, we're in Pride Month, right? The LGBTQIA plus community also has their own flag. Now, conservatives are constantly angry about that flag. They rage every time it gets, posted somewhere or flown or put up, especially in like a school or setting or something. Now, what's funny is that, using conservative logic on the Confederate flag, the LGBTQIA plus community could go out there and say, hey, man, look, you can't ban the pride flag. That's my heritage. It's my heritage. Live gay or die. Hey, that's kind of based, actually. Live gay or die. All right, but look here. They're not making that argument because it's a dumb argument. It's a dumb argument when conservatives use it. Dumb argument when anybody's use it. Okay? Those two flags have very, very different meanings. Obviously, one stands for hatred and slavery. The other stands for actual human freedom. Funny enough, gay marriage lasts longer than the Confederacy. So, if anything, I guess gay marriage is more of a heritage in this country than anything that has to do with the Confederacy. But again, right-wingers have no idea, have no problem going after the rights of gay people or the rights of women to have bodily autonomy. They're also super offended by these pride flags, as I mentioned before, and have been trying to get them banned. Last year, for example, Marjorie Greene supported a bill called H.R. 85, the Old Glory Only Act. So, look, this was probably lost in all the other insane news, but what that ban would have done was require the Secretary of State to ensure that no United States diplomatic post or consular post flies any flag other than the United States flag over such post. That was, of course, in response to the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken at the time, flying a pride flag during Pride Month over one of our embassies. Now, that same year, and if you think it's just contained with, well, I mean, that's a diplomatic post, right? And that's supposed to represent America, so that seems inappropriate. No. It's not about that. That same year, school districts in states such as Utah, Oregon, Missouri, and Florida also banned pride flags in school, ordered teachers to remove them from their classrooms, saying that, well, it's because it's a political symbol, and we don't want to have that here. Now, again, the argument of, hey, it's a political symbol, political activity. All right, well, that would hold a little bit of water if they applied it evenly, which they did not. March of this year, a Florida university had denied a request by students to display Black Lives Matter flags, but allowed for another group to display Blue Lives Matter flags. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Obviously both happen to be political, right? Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. Why did they deny the Black Lives Matter flags, but allowed the Blue Lives Matter flags? That's super weird. Super weird. Now, the same people, of course, that are against Black Lives Matter flags are probably very pro-Confederate flag. I wonder if that has something to do with racism. Weird. I know. Imagine, like, perish the thought, right? No, it obviously does. And it's very, very obvious. Okay. Moving on. Actress Moses Ingram from the new Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars series has recently come under attack by some so-called fans who hurled racist insults at her on social media. So now Ingram plays Reva Savander, the third sister, hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so she had shared on her Instagram some stories of some DMs that she had received. I'm going to read a couple of them here. One of them said, "Your days are numbered," spelled incorrectly, of course. Another said, "You're not the first N-word, but with an A, in Star Wars, fool." Okay. And another, "You suck, loser. You're a diversity hire and won't be loved or remembered for this acting role." Great. So she then explains, long story short, there are hundreds of those. Hundreds. Again, not shocking. She also then adds, I also see those of you out there who put on a cape for me, and that really does mean the world to me because there is nothing anybody can do about this. There is nothing anybody can do to stop this hate. I question my purpose in even being here in front of you saying that this is happening. I don't really know. The thing that bothers me is this feeling inside of myself that no one has told me, but this feeling that I have to shut up and take it, that I have to grin and bear it, and I'm not built like that. So I wanted to come on and say thank you to the people who show up for me in the comments and the places that I'm not going to put myself, and to the rest of y'all weird. Weird indeed. A lot of weird people on the internet, right? A lot of weird racist people on the internet. Not representative, obviously, of the entire Star Wars fandom or any fandom, but man, there's a certain number of people online that are just terrible people. Terrible people. So now, Ingram is actually a pretty accomplished actress. At 29, she was nominated for an Emmy Award for an Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Limited or Anthology Series. She went to Yale's David Geffen School of Drama. She starred in the Tragedy of Macbeth and Queen's Gambit. So, yeah, sure. Go ahead and tell me, though, how she's a diversity hire. When she actually seems to be pretty accomplished. Just saying. Just saying. No, what this is, of course, is this is the anti-SJW crowd. This is the people who follow Jeremy Quivering or Doomcock. Again, I don't have to make fun of his name because he literally calls himself Doomcock. All right? These are the people that are like, oh, the diversity is destroying my favorite series. Go woke, go broke. Too many black people in my Star Wars. Too many black people on my in my entertainment, in my video games. Like, shut up. Now, look, I love Star Wars. And you know what Star Wars has always been? A little woke. And yes, they'd featured some very prominent black actors. James Earl Jones, the iconic voice of Darth Vader. Billy D. Williams, playing Lando Calrissian. And look, it doesn't just apply, of course, to black actors and actresses. You also had Carrie Fisher, an incredibly strong female character. Definitely not playing the victim in a lot of those movies, okay? In one of the scenes, she literally choked out a giant slug. Now, of course, she was in a bikini. She hated the bikini, of course. Carrie Fisher despised it, and I'm pretty sure the character also despised it, as she was forced into it. But again, the whole plot basically involved fighting against a xenophobic, fascist, right-wing authoritarian empire. So I'm just saying, like, you get my point. How are people missing that? How do people miss that? Now, look, the old movies, again, plenty woke. And they loved them, and I love the old movies. I grew up watching the hell out of Empire Strikes Back over and over. I remember I used to replay it all the time on I had the VCR back then. Just rewind it. and play it over again. You can tell that's my favorite Star Wars movie. All right, but look, anyway, yes, those movies, which are actually pretty woke, these same people profess to love, but the new ones they trash the hell out of. Now, look, I'll be honest, are the new ones great? Mixed opinion, right? I think that they were okay. I mean, Force Awakens probably the best out of the three. Last Jedi was interesting because they tried something different. Rise of Skywalker, again, it made no sense plot-wise, so I rate it last, even though, again, all of them are pretty fun popcorn flicks. But, like, bringing back the Emperor, come on. No. But, again, none of the criticisms of that movie, at least for me, are based on wokeness. Oh, it's too woke. Too woke. No, I think the writers didn't have a whole lot of idea of what they were doing, where they wanted to take it. Of course, you had huge tonal shifts from Rian Johnson to J.J. Abrams, and the whole thing felt, honestly, pretty disjointed. So, in my opinion, of course. That said, they also did John Boyega super dirty. His character in the first movie showed a lot of promise, but then they just kind of forgot about him. Not good. Yeah. That said, there seems to be a certain, I think, tiny part of the fan base that seems to be, I don't know, just nasty towards people of color. It's not the first thing that's happened where, you had a person of color in the Star Wars universe get just completely bullied off social media. For example, Kelly Marie Tran, who became the first Asian American actress to land a Star Wars role. She got targeted by trolls on social media. She ended up deleting her Instagram back in 2018. In fact, she addressed the interview with the Hollywood Reporter, or addressed a move in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter. She said she decided that the internet wasn't good for my mental health. Probably the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say, and the most correct. Yes, the internet, terrible for anybody's mental health. Boyega also told GQ that he faced death threats during his time playing Finn. Now, some of the same people, of course, who hated these actors and actresses of color rallied to defend Gina Carano after she made some offensive posts on social media herself, comparing Republicans to Holocaust victims, please, and made fun of people using pronouns. So, again, you can really see what's going on here. So, but I have good news, though. Ingram's co-workers rallied to her defense. In fact, the official social media accounts for Star Wars issued a statement late on Monday saying there are more than 20 million sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be a racist. We are proud to welcome Moses Ingram to the Star Wars family, excited for Reva's story to unfold. If anyone intends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we have only one thing to say: we resist. Yeah, I think that's a great message. And on Tuesday, actor Ewan McGregor posted this video. Take a look.
It seems that some of the fan base from this influential fan base have decided to attack Moses Ingram online and send her the most horrendous racist DMs. And I heard some of them this morning and it just broke my heart. Moses is a brilliant actor. She's a brilliant woman. And she's absolutely amazing in this series. She brings so much to the series. She brings so much to the franchise. And it just sickened me to my stomach to hear that this had been happening. I just want to say, as the leading actor in the series, as the executive producer on the series, that we stand with Moses. We love Moses. And if you're sending her bullying messages, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. There's no place for racism in this world. And I totally stand with Moses.
All right, I love that message. And it's not just the Star Wars family, of course. You have the Star Trek family. Here you have a Strange New World star Anson Mount, who on Tuesday posted this to social media. Quote, "This is Moses Ingram. She is a singular talent and a recent addition to the Star Wars universe. She has also been targeted by racists pretending to be fans because her mere existence threatens a skewed dystopian fantasy that selectively omits the likes of the real Billy Dee and others. We, the Trek family, have her back." I love it. Oh, I love it. So, for one, I'm both a Star Wars and a Star Trek fan. I enjoy both of those. I think it's great. It has never, I think, been a better time to be a dork. And I'm saying this seriously because I am one. Like, here we have this gigantic buffet of, series. It's Star Wars, different Star Trek series, right? Mandalorian, you've got all of these different things that are coming out. And of course, they're doing Battlestar Galactica again. They're doing a reimagining of Babylon 5, another one of my favorite series. And so you have all of these new amazing series coming out. And you have people that are sitting here going, I don't like this person, or I don't like the show because Black Lady. Like what is wrong with you? What is wrong with all of you? Like you have all of this brand new content. And for me, again, I love the classics, but like, I also like to see new things. And so I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, that you can't like both, that you can't have a respect for all of these different things. And so again, I love the solidarity here, Strange New Worlds. Look, I'm one episode in, so I got a lot of catching up to do. I'm a very busy person, but so far I love it. I think it might end up being one of my favorites. It does feel like older Trek with the serialized storytelling. I do hope they do some serialized. I'm sorry, not serialized. Yeah, I think it is serialized, and then they do an arc. I hope they do that. More on lines of like Babylon 5, because I thought that was a fantastic idea. But even if they do it episodic, then I think that's fantastic. And I like how Strange New Worlds is episodic. And then, of course, you have bigger arcs as well. Ensign Mount is fantastic as Pike. I really do like that. Again, feels like old Trek, feels like Next Generation, feels like Deep Space Nine. I love all of that stuff. And so, look, these IPs, I grew up with these. And I'm so, so glad to see that there are new stories being told. I am glad that it's more representative because, I mean, think about it. It doesn't make sense to not have it be more representative. If you're going to tell me a story that is filled with aliens and all these different sci-fi stuff, are you then going to also argue that black people don't exist? That doesn't make any sense. There are literally blue and green people. Why would black people not exist? The people that complain about, the diversity of a cast are being absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And by the way, one more thing, the last thing that I want to address here is one common theme that I see from people sending horrible messages, right? Some of them tend to, when they get criticized for being racist, they say, oh, no, I'm not racist. I'm just bad writing. Terrible writing. Isn't it funny that it's always an issue of bad writing when it involves a person of color or a female? I mean, again, you have plenty of white actors that have suffered from bad writing. And to be fair, I think also characters that people didn't like. Jake Lloyd, that played the original Anakin in The Phantom Menace, got bullied mercilessly for it. Mercilessly. And so, like, fans, step off. Don't be an asshole. Again, plenty of white actors, though, have suffered from bad writing, bad roles. Did they get message like, you stupid effing honky diversity hire? No. You cracker. No, you didn't see any of that. It's ridiculous. And I also want to add, because all fandoms are pretty guilty of this one, please stop hating actors for the actions that their characters do. For God's sakes. The characters are not real. The actors are real people, okay? They are not the same people. I remember when the actor that played Joffrey in Game of Thrones got so much hate from people. The actor itself. But wait. hold on. The actor in real life is actually a sweetheart. Super, super nice kid, right? How would you conflate? These people are, like, the characters are not real, you know? He's not Joffrey in real life. Doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Why would, and by the way, the fact that you hate that character for the character's actions actually lends a good argument to how good the actor had done in that role and how good the writing was. You know? Yes, you're supposed to hate that character. And by the way, if the actor is fantastic and does a great job, and the material is a great job, and I utterly hate the shit out of that character, you know, the first thing I say about that is, man, that actor did a fantastic job. Well done. I despise that character so much. Well done. Well done. And I've certainly said that in some of the recent series that have come out. Like, that is a really good bad guy. Well done. Well done. And so, again, they did their job because you're supposed to hate that character. Now, of course, bad writing is a little bit different because sometimes you have a character that you're supposed to like that maybe has an actor that's not suited to the role, or you have, for example, again, just this really bad dialogue or whatever, and you don't end up liking that character. Well, that sucks. But in no circumstances is it okay, even in that circumstance or any circumstance, should you be sending racist, hateful, or threatening messages to that actor. Okay? Just, I mean, ground rules here, because obviously this is a conversation that needed to be had with all of these fandoms. And I shouldn't be the only person. I shouldn't even have to have this conversation. And yet, here we are, because we see this happening all the time. So, like, people, understand that we are living in a golden age of sci-fi and nerddom. Don't ruin it. Just stop ruining it. Okay. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this. Very, very passionate about this, this stuff. I take my nerd credentials very, very seriously. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that's all I got today. Bet they're all subbed to the quartering. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. Do we have any super chats here? I don't see any. Oh, yes, I do, actually. Dystopian Dragon says, take my guns from my cold dead hand is crap because the federal government has drones. Of course, their argument is, well, then we should have rocket launchers, bazookas, machine guns, and nuclear weapons. So, and I have seen that argument before, that, oh, well, if the government has all this stuff, then we, the people, should have this stuff in order to fight against the government. Yeah, I'm gonna argue against that, because I really don't want the rando next door getting blasted, maybe literally, on 4th of July and decide to fire off his rocket-propelled grenade. Woo! No, I don't want that to happen. That's stupid. That's really, really dumb. And again, going back to the shall not be infringed, well, we infringe it plenty when it comes to outlawing automatic weapons or certain automatic weapons. And so, yeah, there is some infringement here. And I think that that's fine, because there is an issue of public safety here. But yeah. In Clone Wars, there's literally millions of cloned white guys with no issue. Let there be one black woman, and how Star Wars is trash. Says Dark Rico 2020. Yeah, apparently that's how certain people feel. It sucks. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that. Nothing over here on Twitch. So anyway, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. We are going to raid into, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, let's do a raid into Nicole Sandler's show. Give her a little boost there. Kind of an old school, progressive talk show host. So everybody help her out. Help her grow her audience on Twitch. For everybody else, Farron Cousins tomorrow on the show. Going to be a lot of fun. Looking really forward to it. So that should be great. Try to have a good night, everybody. Thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
I will eat your ass.
I have not loved this conversation.
I'm a fatty fat though.
No.
Turbicia, they say, pronounce it Turbicia, a real beautiful company.
Disappointed!
Obama.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
I feel like I always let them introduce themselves. I feel like everyone here knows you, but I should still, if you'd like to introduce yourself, Brooke.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is actually gonna be an easier one for you because you don't have to like plug anything for me. You don't have, no one has to shout me out. I got nothing. This is all I've got. Chat, you're all I have. This is the most important thing in my life right now. Also, chat, just as a little teaser, I do have 2 newly acquired kittens in the house right now. If you're really good and you beg hard enough, maybe the cat, they absolutely hate me. They couldn't care if I died. Like, I've never been around kittens that hate me this much, and these 2 really do not care about me. So I don't know if that sweetens the deal.
Chat, I have it on good authority that these kittens are really big fans of level 5 hype trains.
Yeah, they love bits. Show us your kitties. Oh yeah, and Squiddies, are you working the polls today? Thank you in advance. Usually it's Marianne's job to do the polls, but I heard you're taking over, so thank you, Squiddy. Great.
Yes, thank you very much. Marianne almost had like some tech problems, so yeah, Squid's been a doll. Okay, so